Less than a month, Congress will take a historic vote on whether to accept the controversial Iran nuclear deal that President Obama recently negotiated. Critics argue that the U.S. didn't get nearly enough from that agreement and that Iran will be stronger and more dangerous as a result. It'll be one of the most important votes in years for members of Congress, and one of those members joins us now to talk about this deal. First of all, where do you come down on it?
I'm leaning in favor, but still listening to my constituents.
The argument, chief argument, is that these anytime, anywhere inspections aren't what they say. That these folks, the Iranians, could have 2, maybe 3 weeks actually to cover some stuff up.
I don't actually find that argument as compelling as some others that worry me. First of all, the IAEA, has access to all of the existing sites. The issue is, what if they want access to something new? And in that case, they have 2 weeks, 14 days, to negotiate with Iran. And then after that, if they can't reach an agreement, this panel of 8 votes on whether or not they have access.
Is that ironclad enough for you?
Nothing is ironclad. I mean, let's be clear on that. But I think, having just over 14 days to go anywhere you want to go is pretty good. And keep in mind also that Iran has a major incentive not to break this agreement. If they break this agreement, all the sanctions come back. So they don't have much incentive to play games that could lead to the sanctions coming back.
Part of the agreement was a lifting of the embargo on conventional arms. So basically, you're going to have tanks, all kinds of things that will flow into Iran because of this deal. Isn't that going to be a stronger, more dangerous power in the region because of it?
That's in, I believe, 7 years. I forget, it's 5 or 7 years, so it's not right away. Second of all, a lot of our allies in Russia and China, they put those sanctions on them. They were sort of chomping at the bit to get rid of them. I think the positive aspect of this agreement and the focus of the agreement was to make sure that Iran didn't have a nuclear weapon. And if you judge the agreement on that's the way I'm looking at it, is does this give us some confidence that Iran will not have a nuclear weapon? And I think for at least the first 15 years, it clearly does.
Okay, moving on to the trade deal. You recently voted against giving the president fast-track authority to negotiate this huge Pacific Rim trade deal. You basically don't trust the administration to come up with the right balance for workers and corporations?
I basically want to put pressure on them to come up with that right balance, and right now I don't think they have. TPP's not concluded. The talks just fell apart in Hawaii, so it's going to take them a while to put it together.
What's your worry?
My worry is that the bottom 90% of wage earners in the United States of America will not benefit from the agreement. That because we have developed a corporate culture in America that values shareholders, values executives, values customers to some degree, but doesn't value workers, that the benefits, if there are benefits, will simply go to that top 10%. Where is the evidence that the average worker in America is going to derive benefits from this agreement? That's what I want to see. You look at the agreement. Corporations have a private right of action against any country if they think that they are putting in place a law that undermines their profit. But to enforce labor, environmental, health, and safety provisions, no private right of action. You have to go through USTR in an incredibly complicated process.
Workers are getting the shaft?
I don't think workers are being adequately protected as the agreement is currently being talked about. Now, keep in mind the agreement doesn't exist yet, but that's what I want to see improved.
And finally, Bernie Sanders, he's making a huge showing. He was here, of course, in Washington over the weekend. You were actually at the rally. Are you for this candidate? He's kind of the big surge in your party right now.
I endorsed Hillary. So that's where I'm at. I'm not supporting Bernie Sanders. The rally was about Social Security, not about Bernie Sanders, obviously.
But what do you make of his surge?
I think, it's the same thing we were talking before we went on air about Donald Trump. I think, there is a lot of unrest in this country amongst both Democrats, Republicans, and independents. They're looking for something new. Hillary's been, on the public radar for 24 years. So something new comes along, they're going to give it a look.
Can she hold this surge back?
Yes, she can. I mean, think of 4 years ago. How many Republicans? I mean, I was going to say, my goodness, even Michelle Bachmann had a brief period when she was at the top of the polls. People will surge and fall back to the pack. And I think ultimately Senator Clinton, Secretary Clinton, she's had many titles, has the experience, expertise, and knowledge of the issue to be the most effective president.
Helen Smith, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Guys, back to you.
All right, a hiker is